Good evening, I'm Prasad. Rosmah Mansor won't be getting off a corruption trial that easily. The KL High Court today ruled that Gopal Sri Ram's appointment to prosecute her was done properly. This means her application to nullify her trial has been pretty much thrown out the window.
The Kuala Lumpur High Court has dismissed an application by Rosmah Mansor to nullify her corruption trial linked to the 1.25 billion ringgit Sarawak solar hybrid project. Rosmah, who is the wife of former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak, had filed the application to nullify the case in May. Her nullification application is centered around the validity of former Federal Court Judge Gopal Sri Ram's letter of appointment for him to prosecute her case. Sri Ram is the lead prosecutor in the corruption trial against Rosmah, who on February 18th was ordered by the High Court to enter her defence in the corruption case. The decision on her application, initially set for September 9th, was postponed to today. During the proceedings this morning, Judge Muhammad Zaini Maslan ruled that Sri Ram's appointment by then Attorney General Tommy Thomas to prosecute Rosmah's case was properly done per Section 376(3) of the Criminal Procedure Code.
UMNO veteran Nazri Abdul Aziz sees no reason why the opposition should not be given a Deputy Speaker seat in Dewan Rakyat.
Padang Rengas MP Nazri Abdul Aziz believes that the vacant Deputy Speaker position should just be given to the opposition.
Bagi saja kepada pembangkang satu.
Ya,
kan?
cukuplah.
Sebab PAC pun sudah ada.
Ya.
PAC ni dulu pengusinya itu adalah dari kerajaan. Tapi kita dah tukar pembangkang jadi.
Ya.
Yang tu yang paling penting sekali. PAC tu kalau kita kata jangan bagi dulu pembangkang, yang tu patut jangan bagi.
Ya.
Tapi itu sudah pun diberi. Ya. Jadi kepada saya macam timbalan ni, timbalan timbalan speaker Dewan Rakyat, bagilah udah pembangkang satu, apa salahnya? Tak ada masalah.
Nazri added that if the government was afraid that a deputy speaker from the opposition would play politics on certain issues, they could always get the speaker or deputy speaker from the government's side to take over proceedings during those times. There was a vacancy for the deputy speaker post after Azalina Othman Syed resigned on August 23rd. Azalina had wanted Parliament to be reset and wanted someone from the opposition to replace her. An election for the position was supposed to be held on September 14th but has been postponed to the next Parliament meeting when Budget 2022 will be tabled. De facto Law Minister Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar had justified the move by saying that the government wanted to amend the Federal Constitution to create a third Deputy Speaker post for the opposition. The motion to postpone the election was passed by a voice vote.
Kari Jamaluddin has won the heart of DAPs Lim Kit Siang. In fact, the Iskandar Puteri MP says Kari is the best thing about Ismail Sabri Yaakob's cabinet.
Iskandar Puteri MP Lim Kit Siang has congratulated Health Minister Kari Jamaluddin for bringing down the daily new COVID-19 cases to below 14,000 cases yesterday. In a statement today, he said the next hurdle will be to bring down daily new cases to below 4,000. According to Lim, the only redeeming feature of Prime Minister Ismail Sabri's cabinet is the appointment of Khairi as the new health minister. And Malaysians want him to succeed in winning the war against the COVID-19 pandemic, which poses an existential threat to the country. Lim said he was no exception, but he will still be unsparing in his views and criticism of Khairi in the war against COVID-19 pandemic, as he wants the newly appointed health minister to succeed. Lim added that DAP will go all out to cooperate to ensure that Malaysia wins the battle against the pandemic. However, they would still voice out if things go wrong. He also pressed Khairi to explain the actual position with regard to COVID-19 deaths and backlog of fatalities, saying that it was a good time for Khairi to come clean on the issue, which goes back to the period under the previous health minister. Yesterday, the Health Ministry's GitHub data repository reported a total of 116 COVID-19 fatalities, bringing the cumulative death toll to 24,681. This is the lowest number of reported deaths since July 25th.
Lompat si kata lompat. Well, do it while you can because the AG is already drafting an anti-hopping law.
De facto Law Minister Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said the Attorney General has been asked to draft an anti-hopping law. He said this during his winding up speech in the Dewan Rakyat yesterday. Wan Junaidi said the government had just started on it and the process would take time. He added that when the draft of the law is ready, it will be discussed with every MP before being tabled in Parliament. Wan Junaidi said this in response to a question from Puchong MP Gobind Singh Dio, who had asked about the government's commitment to enact the anti-hopping law and whether party hopping would be made a criminal offence. He said Pengerang MP Azalina Othman Syed had also submitted a motion about amending the federal constitution and a recall bill that are listed in the order of business for this meeting. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob's cabinet had agreed to a slew of institutional reforms. Key among the proposed reforms is that an anti-party-hopping law will be tabled in Parliament.
Nama saya Najib binti Abdul Razak. Anak saya Saswani binti Besu, umur 19 tahun. Dia ada penyakit kencing manis. Baru sebulan je. Lepas 2 minggu dia rasa mata dia boleh nampak sikit lah. Mungkin gula dia ada kawal dendam. Mata dia boleh nampak, kalau gula tinggi dia macam kabur sikit. Dulu dia insulinian. Ubat dia kita kena 14 unit, 12 unit. Sekarang ni kalau injek 8 unit, ada 9 unit, ada 10 unit. Kita kira makanan dia macam mana. Dia minum G-Shell tak injek banyak.
A former past chief cleric is puzzled why the Malay Muslim government is allowing more gambling to take place. In fact, he wants past ministers in the administration to speak out against it.
A former past chief cleric has called on the party's ministers to speak out against the increase of special draws for number betting companies. Former past Ulama Wing Chief Mahfuz Muhammad was quoted as saying by Free Malaysia Today that he was not happy with the government's decision. He said the current government is Malay Muslim and these draws should be reduced, not increased. He added that as they know what is halal and haram, past ministers must voice out since they are now part of the government. He said just because the party is a minority in the government, it does not mean that they can't voice out. Mahfuz said the increased special draws would encourage more sin, especially among the rural Malays. Previously, the Pakatan Harapan Federal Administration reduced the number of annual special draws from 22 to 11 in 2019 and to 8 in 2020. However, the Perikatan Nasional Government, which took over from Harapan, reportedly restored the number of special draws back to 22. Finance Minister Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz had confirmed the increase of special draws in Parliament on September 20th.
Malaysia's COVID-19 infectivity rate has dropped to the lowest point this month. Does this mean it can finally make plans to go on holiday? Well, let's hope.
The Health Ministry reported 14,554 new COVID-19 cases today. Sarawak topped the daily case list with 2,825 new cases. Selangor had 2,244 new cases, followed by Johor with 1,807 cases and Sabah with 1,273. As of yesterday, the R0 for Malaysia has dropped to 0.9, which is the lowest this month so far. A R0 of less than 1.0 suggests that the spread of COVID-19 was decelerating. According to Health Ministry's GitHub data repository, there were a total of 116 COVID-19 fatalities yesterday. This is the lowest reported deaths since July 25th. Active cases and deaths are only reported after midnight. Meanwhile, over 19 million of Malaysia's adult population, or 81.8%, have been fully vaccinated as of yesterday. This is according to an infographic shared by the Special Committee on Ensuring Access to COVID-19 Vaccine Supply. 93.3%, or close to 22 million individuals, have received at least one dose of the vaccine.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.